What's up, guys? I got a match on the map checkout where I go 15-3. It's more of a game where I get worked, followed up by a nice round on Anvil, just so I can make this video a little longer because this commentary is going to cover a lot of Judgment stuff. Off the bat, you'll see that the title is, Should I Buy Judgment? If you know me, of course I'm going to buy Judgment. That's just a provocative title because I figured with the way the community has had an uproar on the given Judgment news. A lot of people have just been saying, oh, this is the end of Gears, I'm not buying Gears Judgment, and I just think that is a terrible way to go about things if you want to improve a game. And let's be serious, half the people, or probably more than half the people, who say that they're not going to buy Judgment are going to end up buying Judgment. So I'll let you know what I think from a hardcore fan's perspective, someone who likes the game enough to post videos about it, what I think about some of the changes, which I consider minor or major. You know, what I'd like to see. And I really do think there's a fine line with the way the community is voicing their opinion and Epic Games making changes to Gears. Off the bat, I'd say hardcore Gears of War players tend to be conservatives. You know, they don't like change, and that's maybe because they feel they won't be good at the game, or maybe it's because they don't think it will be the same Gears game that they know and love. I know for myself, when Gears 2 was coming out, I didn't want any changes because I was so scared I wasn't going to be good at the game. But the truth is, I've come to love every Gears game more than the last, which says something. Rather than looking at it from a perspective where I have to adapt, I just played the game, liked the game, and got good at it. So all the implementations, for the most part, as a collective, I would say that they outweighed the bad. The good outweighed the bad, and I think that's just a mindset that people might need to consider when taking on a new game like Judgment. Obviously, we're seeing some major changes in Judgment, which I'm going to talk about, that are a little different than what we're used to, so it's understandable some of the reactions, I guess you could say, from the community. Most of this is just speculation, though. I mean, I haven't played the game, none of us have, so it's kind of ignorant to say that it's not a good game when we haven't had the chance to try it. So some of the minor changes that I want to talk about, COG versus COG. Epic Games said that people like to play as COG more, which I can agree with. I like playing on the COG side better. So they decided to make a COG on COG. Now, I don't agree with COG on COG. While I will admit that I like playing as the COG, I don't think I'd like playing against the COG while being the COG in a game. I think that Locust versus COG has a nostalgic Gears feel to it. I consider it a minor change because it doesn't really affect gameplay, but I also think part of the reason people don't like playing as the Locust is because they just lack personality. And for Gears 3, I think if they focus more on characters that have more personality, like I know Mira, Ram, those are some fan favorites. I don't know why they never put in Scourge. People love Scourge, but Scourge never got in there. So I just think if they focus more on Locust, then people would want to play as Locust a little bit more. But I think most people don't like the idea of just red versus blue. That's just way too conventional. It's nice to have your humans and your monsters, and that's that. We saw fall damage, which means you know, you're going to be able to go from one level to another level in terms of story. I didn't think that that was terrible. I don't really know what to think about it. It's a minor change. I mean, you'll be able to flow around the map more freely, which is probably good because one of the things I love about Gears is movement. I hope they touch up on the animation because it kind of looks funny, but that's not something that I'm really too attentive towards. Retro and Sawed Off are back. I know the Sawed Off plays a little bit differently in Gears Judgment. As far as the Retro goes, it's hard to get rid of a gun once you introduce it to a franchise, so I'm not too surprised to see it back. I think it's not going to be as big of a deal because two of the major changes that I'm quickly going to touch upon, stopping power being gone and active reloads being gone, are things that really aided the rifles, especially stopping power. So in Gears 3, I would never take a Retro over a shotgun. Once you get good with the shotgun, it's I think unquestionably the best close range weapon you can start with. And with stopping power and active reloads being gone, I don't understand how people think this game's going to be a rifle fest. if you think about it, in Gears 1, if you were good with the shotgun and if you were good at movement, you were a pretty damn good player. I mean, that's what that game was. And I think Gears Judgment is next in line when it comes to similarities between Gears games for Gears 1. But that's not to say I think it's going to be a shotgun fest. The rifles have definitely gotten a boost, so they're useful. But I just don't think they're going to be the only thing people use in games. I know people are going to say, because Down But Not Out is in the game, they would probably just take a rifle, sit back, and Lancer. But I just don't think that's going to be the case. If you can move like you could in Gears 1 with the shotgun, you are going to be in heaven. I know I probably am. And I think another thing people aren't considering is the maps in Gears 3 also really aided the rifles. All these maps are so wide open. If you've had a look at some of the maps they've been showing us from Judgment, they're a lot tighter, they're nicer, so they're going to be a lot easier to play from a close quarters perspective. So I'm not too concerned when it comes to rifles outdoing close range weapons. Now, Down But Not Out, that is a big one, and this is what got a lot of people going. I think that I'm an advocate of Down But Not Out, and I say I think because, like I said, this is all speculation. It's not fair to me to say that I think Down But Not Out in is better than Down But Not Out of the game, because I've never played the game, so it's just not really fair to assume without actually getting the chance to test the game. I think I'm an advocate for it because I think it encourages teamwork. You got to plan out how you're going to finish someone off. You got to plan how you're going to save your teammate. I just think that encourages a little bit of teamwork between the two. Obviously, it doesn't make sense for all game types. I wouldn't have it in free-for-all. I would not have it in TDM, maybe. Which brings me to my next question for Epic, which I would actually like to know because I just don't understand. Probably because I'm not a developer, but why can't Hannah Montana can have the best of both worlds, so why can't we? Why can't we have some playlists with Down But Not Out, so people like me who love execution can keep our beloved execution playlist? And I guess that question also kind of applies for the on-screen reticule, which I consider a minor change. It doesn't really bother me, but if people don't want an on-screen reticule, why can't they just flick it off in the settings, which is a question I have for them. I'm sure that from a developer standpoint, maybe there's a reason. I just don't know because I'm a gamer, so there's not much more to be said for that perspective. Now, what really has me worried, the one thing that has me worried is the loadouts. I think one of the developers in a tweet said that Gears Judgment is going to let you play the way you want to play, and I found that ironic because when I found out that you have one primary weapon, it sounds to me like Gears War Judgment is restricting you to play a certain way rather than enabling you to play how we're all used to, kind of, which is selecting a primary weapon, two primary weapons, I should say, one close quarters and one rifle. And I think this is where the conservative Gears of War player of me kicks in. I'm automatically assuming that the game would be better off that way. I'm not too sure how I feel about these loadouts, especially since they're introducing some new weapons, which means you're going to have to be careful in terms of balancing. But I just think about it, and if I had to choose between a shotgun and a Lancer, depending on which weapon I have, if the opponent to me has the opposite loadout, then I just think it will create two types of playstyles that just would not be compatible. You know, if I have a Lancer, I'm going to try to run and get some distance on you if you have the Nasher, and vice versa. And I know you could argue that you can just, you know, go for power weapons, gain map control, but I just think the game plays out a lot more fun. It's a lot more intense when you can kind of match what your opponent has in situations and, you know, play both roles instead of being restricted to playing one. Even with the grenades, I have some questions, because if you're not fighting for grenades and you're actually picking up grenades, you have 5 grenades to choose from. So what is going to make me want a smoke grenade over, say, an ink grenade? I think that's the case. I might be wrong about that. But these are just some worries. I think it could play out fun. Obviously, I think loadouts in Overrun make sense, but in traditional multiplayer, I'm a bit skeptical on this one. Like I said, I'm not ready to just throw in the towel because I've never played the game. The game looks like a hell of a lot of fun to me. I can't wait to get my hands on it, especially with maps that are specifically designed for each game type. So those are just most of the things I wanted to touch on. I don't know what to do about the loadouts. I think somebody suggested that you can choose 2 primary, and how about in special cases your pistol comes out, say when you're out of ammo, which I think is not a bad idea. If it's true that they removed the bolt talk, I'm going to guess that they've removed other pistols in general, so maybe the pistol shouldn't be a part of the game and you should just have your two primaries. That way you don't just randomly whip out pistol. I don't know. You see, it's tough, and that's one I got to be honest on. I'm not too sure what to do about it. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. The community's uproar was pretty impressive, I have to say. I think it is amazing the amount of people that have voiced their opinions on the topic, which is why I'm kind of expecting to see Epic make a couple adjustments. It just wouldn't make sense to me why you wouldn't change it after everybody has been arguing about this frantically for the past week or so. But I think on the community's part, there needs to be a little bit more constructive feedback, because some of the feedback they're giving is just garbage. As far as Epic goes, I really think that, you know, I understand you want to make Judgment a different game, but if you're going to take the Gears of War title, you got to live up to some of the things people expect from Gears of War, whether it be executions or whatever. And like I said, I don't particularly care about executions. I'm just saying this from a player's perspective. I think Epic is living up to the Gears titles, but if the majority don't feel so, I think Epic really does need a push for making Gears. And that's pretty much what I have to say about it. So thanks for watching. Obviously, share your opinions. I'd love to hear what you guys think, and I will catch you guys later.